This is the Becoming Muslim podcast at untoislam.com, the show that helps people convert to Islam with hosts from the US, UK, and Australia.
Yeah, my family was okay. It was just like his family, because he was already married, so I was the second wife.
Oh, now this takes a different stance. Very, very interesting. And actually, so am I a second wife. So there we are.
To be honest, I never really made head of tail of the religion. I just found it a bit confusing, and I think with Islam it's quite straightforward. There's nothing that you can be confused about, it was Christianity and even being Catholic as well. It's just I used to get confused. I just took day by day, and little did I know that I was going to become a Muslim and be guided to Islam and being shown a different way of life. Yeah, my mum used to always say, never judge a book by its cover until you've read it.
There you go. There you go. And I think that's a perfect line to finish on. Hello and welcome to a revert, interviewing a revert. This is all very exciting for me because I've not done something like this before, and I'm very, very keen to get to know my sister here that I've got with me. Her name is Sister Maria. I think I pronounced it right. And she's been a revert for over 20 years. So she is like the queen of Muslim now. Not like me. I've only been a revert for just over 3 years. So this will be very interesting. Hopefully, Sister can teach me a few things during this interview. So without further ado, we're going to go over to Sister and we're going to find out a little bit more about her story. Sister, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Maria. I'm a mother of 5 children. I came to Islam, I would say, going back in 1996. I had a sister that was from Saudi Arabia, that actually did my conversion.
Nice.
So I got to know this sister through going to a study circle, and then became interested. And then the lady, she did my shahada, and I took my shahada with the sister today.
That's incredible. So did you take your shahada here in the UK?
Yeah, in Leeds, yeah.
Oh, in Leeds. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you've reside and lived there now. Did you grow up in Leeds?
No, I'm actually from the northeast. I'm from Darlington.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's not far from where I am. Yeah. Well, the other side. I'm in Huddersfield. I'm on the other side. But yeah, nice, lovely. So the question really is, so 25 years ago, go back, before you got into to that point, before you got to that point of I want to become a Muslim, tell me a little bit about what were you doing? How old were you? If you don't want to give your age away, you can just be a bit vague about it. Although you're looking incredibly well and beautiful. So just tell me a little bit about where you were at, what you were doing back sort of 25 years ago, before we even get into the story, because I'm just intrigued as to know
how I become a Muslim. Was I met somebody, and he was from the Pakistani background, and this is how I came to Islam. And then I got interested in Islam, and then researched it a little bit, and then and then I had a few friends that were Muslim,
right?
So this is how I become to.
So okay, so did you was this a female that you became friend with, or was it a male that you became friends with?
It was a male. He actually became my husband after.
Oh, hello. I wanted to ask you that. That's lovely. My husband's Pakistani as well. There seems to be a big community of Pakistanis up here in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done. So so because a lot of Muslim reverts, I'm finding just in my small circle, I mean, I can't speak generally, but in my small circle, a lot of the sisters tend to take their shahada for a marriage, but don't really get to understand what Islam is about. So tell me a little bit about your journey there.
Yeah, well, at first, like I didn't really understand much about Islam. Then, like generally as time went on, I started understanding more about it. But then I used to get a bit confused between religion and the culture.
Yes.
So which was the right path to follow?
Yes, very good point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because my husband's Pakistani, and he gets very distressed when the culture foggies it all. He's very anti-culture.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
yeah.
not.
So
Yeah.
that was the bit of a confusion with me. Which part was actually Islam and which part was actually the culture? So trying to differ between the two was a bit difficult.
So so was your journey to Islam just solely because you've met a man who is Muslim, and you felt that you obviously to marry for him you needed to be a Muslim lady? So was it just solely on that, or were you finding any kind of peace or any kind of understanding about life? Did you have a religion? Because I never had a religion before.
Yeah,
so
my dad was
very peaceful. Yeah.
Catholic. So basically, being like brought up Catholic,
Okay.
so it's in a way kind of like, I wouldn't say like a way of life, but kind of strict. So I was used to that, like dressing modestly and stuff.
Yes.
My father was quite strict in that context.
Right. Well, that's very interesting because you know, a lot of reverts, you know, they either find it incredibly difficult and it takes time and patience, or like me, I had freedom, and you know, I would wear what I wanted to wear, and you know, show shoulders, short skirts, but before I got into Islam, it was almost like I was beginning to change anyway, because I didn't like the way that I had what I'd become. I was very confused. But for you, it's a very different story, because you were already in a very strict and structured kind of living. So
Yeah.
it wasn't as difficult to become more modest, or even you had God in your heart all the time.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have a struggle with the concept. I struggled with the concept of God, you see, although I believed Quran was truth. I didn't have a problem with that. I just had a very tough time trying to understand God, really.
Yeah.
So talking about tough times, how was it then? Tell me the story of when you've met your husband there and you've decided now you're going to get married. What was the reactions from family?
My family was okay. They weren't too bad. And I think at the end of the day, there was like, you know, if at the end of the day, if this is what you want, it's your life, then, you know, that's what you're happy to do. So,
good. Well, that's great, because again, many stories. Yeah. So you've had a real blessing all the way.
Yeah.
So was there anything that you found a little bit difficult? Because it sounds to me as if you've had a little bit of a fairy tale going on there with the start of your relationship, and you know, with your husband and with Islam. It sounds as if there was no real difficulties. Your family were on board.
Yeah, my family was okay. It was just like his family, because he was already married, so I was the second wife.
Oh, now this takes a different stance. Very, very interesting. And actually, so am I a second wife. So there we are. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me about that.
So basically, it was quite hard. It wasn't hard in the way that I was the second wife. It was just basically being not involved in stuff, and not being treated fairly, and not having the second wife's rights, and so it was just like surrounding that issue. The first wife never accepted that he got married again. He had children to her. I think he had one daughter when I met him, and then he went to have a second child. I think then he had a second daughter, and then I had a child from him. So I had a son to him.
No.
And then I went on to have a second son to him.
MashaAllah.
And then his first wife, she then had a third child, which was a boy. Then I had another 2 boys to him after that.
Wow, he's many children.
We've got 7 altogether.
Yes.
So yeah.
Beautiful. So when you said that she didn't accept it, because in Islam, I'm aware, I mean, I could be wrong, correct me, please do, that to take the second wife, the wife he has to ask the wife. She either agrees or she can get a divorce. She doesn't have to accept it, but she has to agree, or the option is you divorce. So I think that's quite an important point to put out there, because non-Muslim people out there, they see it as something very strange.
Yeah.
They see it as something very seedy, and it all becomes very sexual, which is completely not. It's very practical, and that gets warped, I think, in our society. So tell me a bit about the fact that you said that you were not given the second wife rights. What was that about? What happened? I mean, I don't want to get too personal if you feel uncomfortable.
Well, basically, he never really lived with me. I had children from him. I think because the first wife was related, he lived there because parents were that he has to stay there. He can't come and live with me. So he used to just come sometimes, maybe odd time he would stay over when the first wife wasn't around, she'd gone to her parents.
Right.
Stay over. But if she was here, then he wouldn't come and stay over.
Right. And how did all the marriage go? How did all that work? Are you still together?
No. I divorced after 20 years.
Oh, mashallah, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you had a nice long. I had 20 years in my first marriage, but it wasn't a Muslim. Yeah. It wasn't with a Muslim. It wasn't Islamic. But that you've given it a good run.
Yeah, I stuck it out as long as possible.
Yeah.
Then I think we just parted, and things weren't going too well, and yeah.
So tell me about how Islam played a part, because for me, this is my third marriage, but it's my first Islamic marriage.
Yeah.
And I feel that with Islam, you've got something to, with everything in life, when you've got Islam, you've got a nice framework in which to work in.
For me, because I've been a Muslim for so long, it's it's your way of life. You have like a structure, to go each day. You have faith in Allah, and that's something there. And you've taught your children from being at a young age, and they've been to mosque, read Quran, and it's nice. It's just that society. It's nice to know other people from different backgrounds that are Muslim, and it just gives you faith, basically.
Yeah, so you must be quite deep in the Muslim community there as well. You must have a lot of kind of close sisters, and are you part of the mosque and the community?
Yeah, yeah. I have like a mixture of friends from different backgrounds.
Nice, very open-minded, which is what
Yeah,
Islam is all about. Islam is a very simple religion, and I think sometimes, I don't know about you, like you talked about culture, it can
yeah,
get, for me being new to Islam,
yeah,
you know, sometimes sisters are a little bit too fast, or brothers, to say and comment. I mean, I'm on social media, so
yeah,
you know, I expect that anyway because I've put myself out there. But I just feel that there are ways of encouraging and correcting if needs to be corrected. But I think sometimes you know, you get so overexcited about protecting your religion that you're very quick to kind of come down on a new revert, and you know, it doesn't encourage, it discourages. You know, I think we all need to understand the where we're coming from in our life and the striving that we're having, and that
yeah.
you know, the fact that she's not got her shoulders out is a big step, you know. You have to go slowly. I mean, it must have been very difficult for you in the beginning.
Yeah, because for me it was just like myself. I mean, like I moved around a lot as I was young, and
Uh-huh.
having children from a young age,
Yes.
um, it's just that it was just that security as well.
Right. Okay. Very nice.
Uh, and taking on like a new faith, which is similar to like being Catholic basically as well,
Right.
because my dad was quite strict. There's
Yeah.
some similarities there, like where you cover up, like
Yes.
like modesty and things like that.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah,
tell me a little bit about, actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, because you've been raised Catholic and obviously the view of Jesus Christ, and then you enter Islam, because that is a very sticky situation to be in, to go from one, especially if you've got parents who are still Catholic and have the, because it can be very a very fractious kind of relationship over a, a prophet. You know, you can get very distressed about that. How was that?
To be honest, I never really made head of tail like of the religion. I just found it a bit confusing.
Ah,
Uh, and I think like with Islam, it's quite straightforward.
isn't it? It's
There's quite
alhamdulillah. Yeah, it
yeah,
is.
there's nothing that you can be confused about.
Yes.
Uh, and like it was like Christianity, and even like with being Catholic as well. It's just I used to get confused.
Really, that's interesting. What was it that was confusing you?
It was I think it was just hard to take in. Like if you like, I used to go to church with my auntie,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to love going. I don't know why, but I just used to love going as a young child. But then I used to get confused what was what.
Right.
Things didn't seem like very straightforward.
Yes, yes. Do you know, I think I went to church about 3 times as a child. Obviously I was christened, and I remember going, I used to have to go because I joined the girls' brigade, and the girls' brigade used to go and parade around the streets twiddling. I used to do the majorettes.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and as part of that, I had to go to the church. I was like, oh, I must have been about 9. And I remember sitting on those hard wooden seats, freezing cold, looking up at this figure of Jesus being nailed to the cross, which I found really distressing. And this was my first time in a church.
yeah.
And the vicar's standing there and he's talking away, and I had no idea. I was quite frightened, actually, very confused, and it just drove me. As a child, you would have thought it would be the most natural place, because it's our home, isn't it? It's like a home. I say in our hearts we home in on our Creator, but I couldn't feel our Creator in there at all. And I was a child. I wasn't corrupted. Very interesting that you said the
I
same thing.
felt when I used to go with my auntie to church, but I just found the whole the context was very confusing. I
Yeah,
just couldn't absorb that information.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And You spoke earlier on. We had our little chat before we came on about that this was your first time you've really spoken about your story.
Yes, I've not really spoken out like on social media or anything like that about my story. This is the first time actually going live and telling my story.
Wow, mashallah. And was there a reason why you decided not to do that?
I think maybe just my life has been too busy.
You've got better things to do with yourself. But also, if you think,
I'm quite like reserved in that aspect, to speak in case I think to myself, oh gosh, what's people going to think about me? And
yeah. I think we very modest, and we spoke about that at the beginning, didn't we? About if you've been raised in quite a strict Catholic household, modesty is quite, it's there, isn't it? In everything that you do, you're raised to be quite a modest, young lady. You grow into, and whereas in my household, I didn't have religion, although Mum had to christen us because that's what you did. Otherwise, the neighbour next door would be twitching their curtains. Because I was back in the, I was a 60s baby born. So back then it was very, how fast society's changed. I mean, back then, it was a big thing if you didn't christen your child. I mean, now who cares less, So we were all christened, but, there was no real rules. We just kind of, this is the thing with social media. Back then it was the television and the influences it has on you growing up, and that, it's okay to maybe show a shoulder, no problem. But then the skirt becomes higher, and then the tops become lower. And then it's all about implants and having, big breasts and big lips and makeup and, so, I think modesty is a very good point there, where you've talked about modesty in that, you're quite shy. You don't need to, tell everybody your business. And that is very Islamic as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
With the evil eye as well, to be careful. You don't know who's listening. You don't know what they're thinking, what you're projecting across, what they might pick up on. So a very fair point. So all in all, it sounds like you've had quite a nice little journey.
Still ongoing.
Ongoing. It's not finished yet.
No, it's not finished yet. It's still ongoing. Yeah, alhamdulillah. I got remarried.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
To somebody from Libya.
Oh, interesting. A different culture there altogether.
Yeah, but he actually does go by the book, by Islam, and he doesn't mix like any culture with like Islam. It is actually he does follow Islam quite strictly.
And how do you find that? Now, this is I want to find out about your thoughts about this.
I think maybe at first it was like a little bit hard, because I'd been by myself for quite a while. I think we're actually getting used to each other. And
was it a new marriage then?
Yes.
Oh, well, congratulations again. Mine's a new marriage as well. When did you get married?
What we're on 21 now. I think it was 2018 or maybe 2017.
Oh, too. You're a little bit into it now.
Yeah.
And are you number one wife or two number one?
No, the only one.
The only one. And does that feel different as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot different. Yeah.
Do you think he might take a second wife because he's got every right to?
I don't know.
Cross that bridge when you come to it.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit more about this new marriage then, and how different it is this time.
It's just quite different, I don't know how to describe it really.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Do you feel that your iman has grown more?
With
this new husband, is he sort of helping you along the way?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Yeah, and how, we talked about earlier about how you know, there are ways of, I think I mentioned it, there are ways of like yeah, I did, like encouraging, you know, rather than just kind of cutting you off and then giving you that kind of insecurity, you know, that you know, your confidence starts to wobble a bit, you get a bit embarrassed because, you know, you don't really know what you're doing, and then someone just comes in and goes, you know, not, you know, I'm talking about sisters are doing this. I've had a couple of sisters doing that to me. So how is it with your husband? How does he communicate with you? Is he?
Oh, his English is really good.
No, I mean in terms of like, is he gentle? Is he encouraging? Is he, you know, the ideal husband that we all kind of dream about?
I don't think there's such thing as an ideal husband, but he ticks a lot of boxes.
If he's a good Muslim,
he is, mashallah, he's very good.
There you go. That's an ideal husband, as far as I'm concerned. See, that's what I wanted. I wanted to go by the book. I just thought because this is my third go, and I'm not having any more after this. You know, I'm done. Alhamdulillah. You know, we're doing really well, and you know, my husband's very encouraging, and he always uses the word give them space, and I love that. Give them space. You know, allow them to be where they are at that moment, because we're not on the same page. And once you've got that, and also I'm a bit more mature now, you know, and like I was young, you were young, you know, you start your marriage life and you're young, you've got your kids, and you don't even really know who you are yet. And as you get older, you just let a lot of things go. Do you not find that?
Yeah, I think as I've got older, like I let a lot of things go over my head, and
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's just like, let it go over your head and like move on. And
but I feel that Islam's really helped me with that. It puts things into perspective.
It does, yes.
Yeah, I've learned to live within the scope of the day, not to be making too many big plans and then. You know, we live in the scope of the day. We wake up, we are in each other's presence, we have our breakfast together, we talk, you know, obviously we talk about what the day's going to look like, what we're going to be doing, and so on. But that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, I think with me and my husband, we're both quite stubborn.
Oh, yes.
But we can be quite like lenient as well. But we can clash.
Yes.
I'm quite strong-minded. He's quite strong-minded.
Right. Okay. And what about the kids? So did you have children with him?
I haven't got no children with him, no.
No. Okay. And how did your children get on with their new dad?
Not very good.
No. Yeah. But I think there's a ruling, isn't there something in Islam that because they don't really, in Islam, isn't it, that they don't really call their stepfather dad? You know, it's not like that, is it? It's something quite different.
My youngest son, he's 7. He gets on with him quite well. And yeah, my other kids, I've got one that lives down south. My second eldest son, he lives down south. My oldest son, he don't like actually like entertain him or anything. There's been a lot of complications.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
May Allah facilitate ease, and you know, may Allah make the way for you and your family, you know, so that you can have.
My kids get on with me quite well.
Yeah.
Got a good relationship, alhamdulillah.
That's amazing. Yeah, alhamdulillah. That's the main thing, isn't it? That your children understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. Wow. Sister, I think we've talked quite a long time. Is there anything else you need to tell me or haven't said or want to say? I think you've had an amazing story.
I don't know really. Just anybody actually thinking about converting or coming to Islam, it's one of the most beautiful religions you could find, regardless of what the media
Exactly. Because it puts us on the right path. It gives us a framework, doesn't it? And it answers our questions.
It does.
It puts everything into perspective, and it gives you a purpose. And then for me, it slowed me down in that I didn't need to do all of these big things and complicated things and extravagant things, you know. And it just grounded me. I don't know about you, when you took your Shahada, did you just have that kind of peace descend upon you?
I just felt different.
Yeah.
I think more relaxed, and so I'm quite an active person, and I like to be out and about, and but I just found more peace and like tranquility, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's certainly calmed me right down. And I don't know for you, probably not so much your story, but with my story, there were lots of, I call them signposts along the
Okay.
way. Like
Yeah.
there was God along the, I mean, remember I was an atheist. I didn't believe, I wasn't anti-religion. I wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't racist against religion, if you like.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, not talking to you, you're religious, you're a weirdo. But I didn't have any idea of religion and what that meant. I just didn't think it was for me, really. But
Yeah, you just had found that connection.
yeah. But
Does that say it?
did it come to any surprise to you that you were going to be a Muslim, by the way? It's
To be honest, I just took it day by day, and little did I know that I was going to become a Muslim and be guided like to Islam, and being shown a different way of life.
It didn't make you feel nervous. It didn't make you sort of doubt.
I think when I first wore my hijab,
Oh yeah, what was that like?
yeah, it was. I used to just like put my scarf on my head at first,
Yeah.
and afterwards, I remember the children's father saying to me, if you're going to wear, the scarf, like you wear it properly.
Yeah.
So that I like started wearing the scarf properly,
Yeah.
and just then, yeah, it was okay. I think it was just getting used to the fact of covering my hair.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but I used to
Yeah,
go on.
that's
Sorry.
like, no, I was going to say that's another whole kind of, but it's really interesting because that's like, that could be another whole sort of video and discussion, because there's so many different stories out there. Ladies take their time, some put it on straight away. Some sisters, just can't seem to wear it at all. I wear a mixture of, turbans. I've been in Egypt, by the way, so I've got this kind of style from the Egyptians. I've also I was also in the Middle East in Qatar, so I can also do it the kind of Qatari, Araby kind of way. And I can and also I do it a kind of African way. I do a bit of a wrap round, I do all kinds of things. I don't know if that is, I was told off about this. But my kind of feeling is that I'm modest.
Yes.
And I think as long as you can justify that, and with our creator, I think that's really all that matters, right? As far as I'm concerned, I don't think we should get too upset about it.
To be honest, I don't think anybody should be in a position to judge anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this is what Allah is there for.
Mm-hmm.
He's our judge, as he's our creator.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's not nice for people to judge other people just based on what they see, because at the end of the day, that person, it comes from within.
Yes.
Not what you see on the outside.
Exactly. That's beautiful.
That's how I've been taught from my parents.
See?
It's not on the outside what's important, it's what's on the inside. It's what comes from the heart. I think maybe, yeah.
That's beautiful, that is, and we're not sitting here saying that Islam's got all the answers, and if you're a Muslim, you're like a really perfect person and you've got all your morals. That's just, we're all human. It really is insignificant, as to how morally you behave. But Islam gives you it prescribes for you quite beautifully.
Yeah.
How to conduct yourself. And it goes back to that beautiful modesty. That you don't go pointing at anybody in the street. Which, by the way, have you had anybody kind of?
Quite a while ago, I had like some like children that were cutting through the area where we used to live, and had said a few racist words.
Really? How interesting.
Yeah.
That's
And basically they told me to go to church.
Oh, bless. You said, oh, I've done that. I did that, love. It didn't work for me. Sorry. Can you just let me be?
I'm just like a Pakistani.
Oh, wow.
You need to go to church. And I'm like, do you not need to go to school?
Move on.
Go, and they just stood and they just started laughing, like, because I didn't think they expected that reaction or English in my mouth.
Yeah,
because
that's
people ask me, which country are you from?
Wow, lovely. Yeah, mysterious. I like a little bit of mystery. Get people thinking,
they don't think that I'm actually English.
Mm.
They think that I've come from the country.
Well, I mean, you look. The thing is, actually, do you know what? Having said that when you wear a hijab, it's like you become a Muslim in that we become one nation, and nobody can really place you.
No.
And I like that about the hijab. Nobody can really place you. Nobody can really tell. When I wear my hijab, people don't quite get me. They don't quite understand, like you say, where am I from? Because you just don't see. You just see this face and then this beautiful hijab. So yeah, that's a very interesting idea.
Topic.
Yeah, it's like we are just one.
Yeah.
We could be from anywhere, and I like that. It's about, like you say, it's about your heart. It's got nothing to do with anything else, and you don't see anything else. You just see your heart, and that's what it should be about. You shouldn't be judging on anything.
Yeah, my mum used to always say, never judge a book by its cover until you've read it.
There you go. And I think that's a perfect line to finish on. Never judge a book by its cover. And that also goes, I actually put that in one of my posts on one of my social media. It's about the Quran. So, don't judge it until you've read it. So don't judge the book by its cover. Go ahead, read it, and then make your conclusions. Don't make hot air conclusions about it. So don't judge a book by its cover. Well, thank you so much, sister. I've really, really enjoyed talking with you. I hope that we will hook up and continue to talk, because I'd love to get to know you, because you are my neighbour.
Thank you. Yep. We're not far apart. I think maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour.
That's perfect. That's really nice. So hopefully we'll get to come together at some point once all of this has blown over and is past memories. Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. Well, anyway, thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. And it was such a joy to speak to you and get to know you. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
As-salama. Take care.
As-salam.